Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me. This is your host, Idjester. Once again, we're going to be looking at Tigers on the Hunt. So, Tigers on the Hunt is a World War II infantry combat system that is strongly inspired by the old ASL board game rules. It's being developed by Silicon Soft Systems and, of course, published by Matrix Games and Slytherin. So, be sure to check out their websites to find out all the information about Tigers on the Hunt. I've been doing some video tutorials for this game and doing the editor and showing everyone how to use the editor. Hopefully you've been able to check out those videos. And during one of our live streams, somebody had asked me whether or not you could actually create a scenario in which both sides were attacking and trying to gather their victory locations. So I've been thinking about that, and I decided to create a scenario and show you guys how to do that. But this isn't just going to be a regular scenario. I've got some special rules that I'm going to use to show you how wonderful and flexible this editor will be to allow you to create all the scenarios that you can possibly dream up. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take you back to June 6, 1944. The Allies are dropping their paratroopers out of the planes in the night sky above France, trying to secure the bridge locations and blow them up before the Germans can gather their forces together and back to the beaches and reinforce where the Allies have landed in Normandy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually be creating a scenario for you based upon that, and let's go ahead and get to it. And I'm going to explain some of the special rules that we're going to be talking about and using for this scenario, just to show you again how flexible this editor is, and anything you can think up you will be able to use and pretty much design in your editor here. So what I'm going to do, first things first, I'm going to go to US Zone 1. I'm going to make a zone for our paratroopers here, and I'm going to click on our paintbrush and make sure that our little mouse cursor looks like a paintbrush. And I'm just going to kind of randomly click around the map, and this is going to be all the different locations that the paratroopers may start in and land. And it'll be up to the human player. I should mention that this scenario, because I'm having special rules incorporated in it, you're only going to be able to play as the US side, because obviously the computer won't be able to use the special rules that we're going to be posting for this scenario. So we've got Zone 1 here, and that's when the game gets set up, the American player can choose which of these locations they wish to, and I'm actually going to get rid of a couple of these. There we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. We'll put one more right there. Alright, there we go. And so the other thing I want to do is make sure that when you set these units up, we want to make sure we only have a limit of one squad per setup hex. So I don't want the player to be able to put more than one in a location. And this just shows us the haphazardness of location of what had happened during that evening. And so what I'm going to do is just assign that to all of these locations. So the American player can basically put one and only one unit in each of these hexes. And there we go. So they're going to have to make a decision. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to actually add in our American unit. And of course we're going to be using the Airborne squad here. We're going to have them come in on turn 1. And this time we're going to be using US Zone 1. And we're going to say OK. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on our Airborne squad, and we're going to come over to the OOB, and we're going to clone that unit, and we're going to give them 9 more of them. So a total of 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Okay, we should be okay. Alright, so there we go. And you can see that we've now got a whole bunch of them. And of course, anytime you clone a unit, all of the subordinates are going to take the exact characteristic of the original unit. So you can see they've all been assigned to US Zone 1. They all have the same experience level. And of course, they all are the same type of squad as well. So there you go. We're going to also give the Americans a couple of leaders here, and we're going to give them C star, and we're going to have them come in on first turn, and again US zone, and we're going to allow them to be a seasoned leader, and we're going to say okay, and again we're going to click on this, and we are going to go to the OOB and clone it. And we're going to make two more actually. We'll make two, so we'll give them 3 leaders, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 squads. There we go. Alright, now the special rules I was talking about is both of the Germans and the Americans want to secure the bridgehead here. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create some victory hex locations, so hex victory value here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose some spots here, and basically what those spots represent are equipment that the Americans can find to help them gather the resources up and be able to assault the bridge. So what I'm going to do is put these victory points on the different spots in the map. And if the American player goes and captures that spot, whatever unit captured that spot is then allowed to use a special weapon. So what I'm going to have to do to kind of do this is I'm going to actually give each and every one of our units a demo charge. There we go. And we're just going to do that really quickly. So what this represents is basically the fact that if the Americans spend the time to gather their victory points up and get their units over there, whatever unit gets to that location will then be able to use their demo charge. If the unit arrives here and decides to immediately assault the bridge, obviously it would not be able to use a demo charge. Only the units that actually capture the victory point locations. And this way it kind of represents the fact that these units have been scavenging around, finding equipment, finding discarded items, and basically finding things that are going to help them be able to assault the bridge. So this is why we can't let the computer play the Americans, because the computer doesn't know the special rules, and it would just automatically be able to use the demo charges. So there we go. We're just going to create that, and I think this will be the last one there. So this way the American player has to decide, does he want to actually spend time gathering the demos, gathering the victory points so that he can use the demo charges, or does he think that he can take over the bridges without wasting that amount of time? So it's going to be kind of a tricky situation for the American player. I'm actually going to move this guy back a little bit. There we go. And maybe something like that. We don't want him too close to the bridge right off the bat here. Move a couple of these units. Again, I could just, to get rid of it, I just click on it again. There we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and create some victory hex values here. And this is going to be maybe 1 back here. And we're going to give it a value of 1. And we're going to make it neutral. And so let's assume the American player decides to put a unit here. If this unit spends the time to go back over to the woods and grab the demo charge, whatever unit uses that and gets this, when it makes it back up to the front lines here to be able to assault these bridges, it would actually be able to use the demo charge The other units that don't gather the resources obviously are not allowed to. Again, that's why we're kind of having to use the AI would not understand these rules. And so let's put another one maybe here, and we're just going to put it as 1. And then last but not least, maybe put another value of 1 over there. So they have a couple different there. And you know what, let's go ahead and oops, I'm going to go ahead, oops, yes, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and actually get rid of that zone and recreate it right there. That's fine. And then what we're going to do is put 1 up there. So there will be 4 different spots, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. And those units that actually captured that spot would be able to use the demo charge to help them assault the bridge. So those are obviously just worth 1 point each. We just have to assign a value to them, but that's not the main goal. The main goal obviously is to, oops, the main goal, victory point value. We can only put it, we cannot put it on our bridge can be placed into water hex. Victory hex value. Oh, so it will not let us put it on the bridge. Interesting enough. Okay, so alright, here's what we'll do. We'll kind of have to do this a little bit different. We'll put each side of the bridge is worth 5. So 5 points here and 5 points over there. So this side's worth 5, this side's worth 5, this side's worth 5, this side's worth 5. Unfortunately, I wanted to place it on the bridge and just make the bridge worth 10. So you can see just capturing any one of these points is worth more than getting any of these points over there. In fact, let's just go ahead and change these all to 10 because I don't want these little locations in the back to come into play in the actual scenario there. So each of them are worth 10 points now. So even if the American gathers all 4 of these, it's not going to matter in the long run on whether or not he actually wins the scenario. All they're going to do is allow them to use the demo charges to help them assault the bridge in case the Germans are over here, which they will be over here. So let's go ahead and assign some German units now. So what I'm thinking is the first turn the Americans land, actually I want to keep these a little bit farther back. Okay, so maybe not that close. There we go. All right. Very good, very good. Excellent. We'll put this one here. It's fine. I'll put one there. There we go. All right. So for the Germans here now, what we want to do is we're going to give them elite units. They're going to come in turn 1, and we're going to put them on free placement, and we're going to allow them to be veterans. And we are actually going to assign, click on this, and we are going to clone this unit. And again, we're going to make it pretty even at this point. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 US Airbourne squads. So with this one plus 9 more will be 10. So that seems pretty even to begin with right there. But we are going to give a couple of these squads light machine guns. There we go. Support weapon, light machine guns. And of course, we're going to assign a few leaders for the Germans as well. Now in this case, we're not going to give them quite as good leaders. Free placement, and we're going to make them we're going to give them seasoned. Yeah, that's fine. And we are going to click on him and clone him. We're We're going to actually give them 3 because they're not as good as the American leaders. I think the American leaders are... they're actually C with a star, so they're better quality. They give better bonuses. There's not as many of them, but for the Germans, there will be more of them, but they won't give as good a bonus. Alright, so now all we have to do is decide how we are going to place our units. Yes, we must make sure we are not in paint mode. Alright, so we just click on our paintbrush to get rid of that. So we're going to insert the unit on the map. We're going to insert this unit on the map. And we're going to insert this unit on the map. We're going to insert this unit on the map. I'm trying to keep them as far away from the hex victory point location as possible here. I don't want anybody to have too big an advantage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 5, 6. So we could have a meeting engagement pretty soon, right off the bat, as you can see. And even though I'm trying to keep units away from the victory points, they're pretty much going to be there right off the bat. But fortunately, this is a night mission, so we will be able to, there we go, put that there. We'll put the leader there, put the leader here, and last but not least, we'll put a leader here. So unfortunately for the American player, they're going to have to spend some time gathering their forces. The Germans already are in formation, which kind of represents what we had. We don't want to use any hexes above this, so we are actually going to go to non-playable hexes, and we're going to turn our paintbrush back on, and we're just going to paint all this in. If you have not seen our videos for this game on how to use a tutorial, be sure to check these out on the Southern our Matrix Games website. We have some good information on how to actually use the editor, how to create your own maps, and lots of other tutorial information that's coming out by the developer as well. So very important that you go to the website and gather all that information up before the full release, which is coming very, very soon. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just painting out those extra hexes that we don't need. Right now we're at the bottom of our maps, so that's the bottom there. So that's good. So German player is going to be trying to secure these locations. Obviously the American player has somewhat of a deficit here as being the human player. You're going to have to play as the Americans. So you're going up against a slightly stronger, because they do have some light machine guns. Actually, you know what? Let's give them one more light machine guns. There we go. 3 light machine guns, equal number of squads, 1 extra leader. Plus, they have already gathered their strength together, and they can move down here. So the human player is going to have to do really well, and again, kind of have to decide, does he assault the bridge right off the bat? Does he spend some time putting some units towards the back so they can get demo charges, so that they can use the demo charges to help gather these victory point locations? Let's look at our actual our map here, and we're just going to kind of paint in a few extra wood things here for extra cover. I should mention here in our snare attributes, the snare name is going to be called The Longest Night. Obviously, we're using one map board by 2. It's only going to be 6 turns long, so it's being a meeting engagement. They're kind of already pretty close to the locations anyways. Notice I've switched the visibility to 2 hexes there because it is nighttime. I've decided just to leave it at 2 hexes, which is pretty close. You're not going to know until you start venturing out whether or not there's enemy units very close. For the attitudes, we're going to have the Germans are the advancing, and the Americans are also advancing. The Germans are actually going to set up first, but the Americans do get to move first. So they get a slight little bonus because they get to move first. And us, if they can try to get this location secured before the Germans come in. Of course, we need to change our date here to June 6, 1944. There we go. So that's pretty much our scenario attributes. That's how we're setting up our different locations for the units. And this scenario, we can just go to File, Save As, go, of course, to the Matrix Games folder, click on Tigers at the Hunt, go to Scenarios, and we're going to type in the longest night. And that's as simple as it goes. And pretty much, let's see if there's anything else we want to do here. Let's put in a little couple brush hexes here. We'll put one in there. We'll put one in there. And I think that looks pretty good. The only other thing is, do we want to add in any wood buildings anywhere to kind of help anybody secure, have a location where they can actually get some protection instead of being out in the open. We have one here, we have one here, we have one here, we have one here. A few woods hexes around looks pretty good. No, I think that looks pretty good. I think the map looks really well. I think we did a good job of finding a nice location for our scenario here. So again, June 6, 1944. Scenario, the longest night here. Played only as the Americans. Americans choosing... actually, you know what? Let's give the Americans a few more zones so they can give them more choices on where they want to position their units. Maybe a couple on the road. There we go. And maybe one. Yeah, we don't want to get too many too close. Oh, and the other thing is, anytime I add one of these in, I do need to go back in and switch it over to one squad limit per setup hex. So that's obviously something I don't want to forget to do. So some of these have already been assigned. Let's just make sure all of them have one hex, one squad per hex. You can see the number over there on the side. There we go. There we go. So that would be good. Of course, we need to file save. You notice that it's already been saved once because it's got the scenario name down there, I believe. So if we click on save, it should just overwrite that other file, which is excellent. So that's pretty much it for creating something, meeting engagement. Again, we had some special rules that I wanted to incorporate in this, just to give the human player some extra thoughts about what he wants to do to, instead of just run right up there, does he want to spend the time to actually gather some other resources out there? In fact, you know what? Let's go ahead. We want to add in victory point location. We're going to put one back there as well. So we do have a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if he spends the time to actually get these, of course, then whatever unit he moves over that hex, he'll just have to write down the ID number of it and keep track of which unit can actually use the demo charges. And it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. I would love to find out exactly how easy or tough this is for the human player to play as the Americans. So there you go. Just another little video here that I was thinking about, wanting to, kind of show you guys some more about the editor and the flexibility of it and the uses. And as I mentioned in our live stream, pretty much anything that you can dream up, you can create with this editor. So look for the full game version of Tigers on the Hunt to be released February 25th, 2016. And of course, go to the Matrix Games and Slytherin websites to get all the information about the game. So thanks so much for watching. Until the next time, my name is Idjester, and I'm signing off.